Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Garden Coach. We have 5 minutes before we get started, and I've got some really interesting new things to look at and discuss today. So the good news is we're doing another promotion this weekend on vegetables. And if you haven't gotten your vegetables planted, it's not too late. And it's buy one and get one free. So what a great way to get your vegetable garden going, or add to it if you didn't get enough planted already. So welcome, welcome. We have 4 minutes before we start. I'm Jennifer Brennan, the garden coach, and I've got some really fun views of the nursery and all the neat new plants we're getting in. And then I'm going to talk about the promotion this weekend. Ooh, and we're doing something really fun on Father's Day. We have we have these wonderful infused drinks that and it's a set that you buy, and we have someone that's going to demonstrate them, and you get to bring dad to sample some of the infused drinks. And then we're also bringing a food truck that's going to be here, and it's La Cochinita. It's a wonderful taco food truck. So, and they'll be here from, let me see, 11:30 to 3, 11:30 to 3. That's when we're doing the infused drinks. And then the taco truck, I think, is here till 2. So it's really going to be fun. And I'm glad because I don't have to bring my lunch on Sunday. So let's see how many, we've got 3 minutes till start. We just have 2 people, me and one other person. So welcome aboard, welcome aboard. Haven't the last 2 days been absolutely luscious? Just refreshingly beautiful. And we're going to get warmer today, but I don't think it's supposed to get that humid until later, till this evening. And then that's going to make for some thunderstorms. So, but that means more rain. We get more rain for our plants. So we really need it. We really need it. Oh, there's 4 people. Welcome, welcome. I'm Jennifer Brennan, the garden coach, and also known as the horticulture information specialist here at Chalet. And we've got 2 minutes till we get started. I was talking about the fun event we're having this weekend. We have a Father's Day special where we have one of our staff is going to demonstrate the infused drinks. We have this wonderful company of infused cocktails, and Alex is going to be demonstrating how to use it, and you get to sample it. And then we also have a food truck coming, and it's La Cochinita, and it's a taco truck. So I'm excited because I don't have to bring my lunch on Sunday. So it's really going to be fun. And then this weekend, I believe, I think it's now, all of our vegetables are buy one, get one free. So it's a neat way to enhance your garden, or a great way to get started if you haven't started your garden. So let me just check this again. We still have 4 people and 1 more minute to start. I think a lot of people are out in their gardens because it's so lovely. They're making up for last time when it was so hot and so humid. Boy, it was awful. And the samples and the photos of plants that have been dealing with this extreme heat and extreme drought is sometimes frightening, very frightening. Okay, 1 more minute to go. Hi, everybody. We've got 6 people. Welcome, welcome. I'm Jennifer Brennan, the garden coach. I have bad news. Well, I guess it's bad news. We're only going to do 2 more garden coaches this week, and then next week, and then there's going to be a break in July, and then we might just do them every other week in August, in August and September. But yeah, people are on vacation for the summers, and So the numbers have dropped. So we're not going to be doing every week, but I think I got everyone started off to a good start for their gardens. Okay, it's 10 a.m. I'm going to go ahead and say welcome. I'm Jennifer Brennan. I'm the garden coach here at Chalet, the horticulture information specialist. Usually you see me at the diagnostic desk with the microscope, or out in the plant information center at the information window. And but it's been so much fun doing garden coach and showing you what I've been seeing at the diagnostic desk, and keeping you up to date. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna share the screen with my PowerPoint. Here we go. And I'm going to start from the beginning. Ooh, too many pictures of me up there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll go through the presentation, and then I'll answer any questions that you have, put them in the question and answer, the Q&A area rather than the chat box. It's easier for me to keep track of the questions and answer them in order when they're in that Q&A box. So let's keep moving here. Here are the topics this week. I didn't get them to our marketing department till early this morning, and so they went out this morning. So if you haven't gotten the outline, we have it. It looks like this, and it's just a page and a half today. And you can always come into the store, and they're in a handout rack right at the diagnostic desk, right in front of the microscope. So I'm going to start it out with all the wonderful, well, actually, no, I'm starting it out with watering. I have to just keep emphasizing that the most important thing that you can do for your garden right now is water it. And we are still, I had 1.1 inches of rain at my house last Saturday, and but not a lot of people got that. So with that and the official rain totaling at O'Hare shows that they got an inch, and so they're still showing that we're down 7.5 inches of rain for the season, for the spring and the summer. So make sure you water at least twice a week all of your trees and shrubs, and your garden areas. You can always let the turf go dormant and bring it back to life, if you're watching your water, your water bill. But definitely water those trees and shrubs, and especially any newly planted plants. You want to make sure you treat them like intensive care patients and water them every other day, not every day, because if you water every day, you're going to push the oxygen out of the soil, but every other day. And you want to make sure you hand water the root ball, and, divide it into quarters. Hold that watering wand over the first quarter, count to 5, second quarter, count to 5, third quarter, count to 5, fourth quarter, count to 5, and do that 3 times. And that you make sure you've really hydrated that root ball, because it takes 6 to 8 weeks for those roots to move from the root ball to get out to the surrounding soil. So it is possible the surrounding soil can look wet, but the root ball can be dry because of the heat and the high winds and the high, and the plant transpires all the moisture out of those roots, and then you can really get damage to the plant. So again, that rule of thumb is you want to have at 75 degrees or cooler, 1 inch of rain a week, and for every 10 degrees above 75, an inch, add an extra ½ inch. So 1.5 inches of rain each week. And boy, we just are not getting it. Get a rain gauge so you can measure what it's your house. These are great examples of the damage of, that is happening. The customer brought this hydrangea in thinking it was a leaf disease, a fungal leaf disease. Put it under the microscope, there is no sign of disease at all. When those buds were just starting to unfurl was when we had that really hot, dry 2 weeks, and the cells got damaged. Then this is what arborvitae are looking like that haven't been watered well. So really sad, really sad. Now, this is the fun tour. I'm just going to flash through these photos really fast. because this is what our nursery looks like now. And you can see wonderful display tables out at in front of the our plant information center. And then this was in honor of Gay Pride Week or a month, and then all of our wonderful signature containers really set up for good summer, hot summer, sunny locations. We have the sun ones on one side. Look at these sun combinations. And then the shade ones on the other, all the way down. Beautiful shade combinations. And this is even more. And then this is the fantastic hanging baskets. You buy 2 hanging baskets and you get 1 free. So beautiful. These are ones that are all foliage plants, incredible for the shade. And then all of our dwarf conifers, the boxwood, we're getting regular reshipments of boxwood, ornamental grasses, all of the shade perennials. And then this is the center courtyard. This is where we're putting our farm truck plants. So instead of having the truck here, every time we have it, we just unload the truck and they're right in our center courtyard. And the signage says fresh from the Chalet farm, and they're priced at value prices. And then these are the tropicals that we have, and people just love tropicals for the outdoor patios, especially in the sun. Great succulents. These are the chick charms, a wonderful group of different colored sedums. And then this is the backside of our shed, our farm shed out in the middle courtyard. And then these were a lot of the different fruit trees we have on hand. And then beautiful little dwarf conifers to do trough gardens. Ferns, these are tropical ferns. So, but beautiful for shade areas and, the shade patios. Our shade annuals are covered by that shade cloth, which is really wonderful. So you know where to go to find shade loving plants. And then these are the sun annuals. You'll notice that they're set in color. So the white table, the yellow table, the pink table, the red table, and then the purple and the blue table. Another shot of the looking over the white and sun annuals into the shade annual bed, and then another direct shot. And then you can see the umbrella that's set up outside of the information windows of the Plant Information Center. These are all the foliage plants that you can use in containers and or as ground covers. Those are the spreaders or the trailers that will extend your plant length. And then just wonderful, the petunia hanging baskets looking over the rose display bed. And then this is our center courtyard where all of our vegetables and edibles are located. And you can see the herbs underneath the umbrella. And then that's one of our European food cart loaded up with annuals. And then all of these were loaded up with the herbs. These are all the herbs. And then you have racks of our vegetables. So the squashes on one side, coming around the corner for the tomatoes, going across the whole tomato rack, and then across the aisle, another group of herbs and eggplant. Then we have the eggplants and peppers, and then look at just wonderful, wonderful herbs. You just have to have fresh herbs in your garden. And then there are more tomatoes, and then the peppers. Those are the back shelves. It's kind of like the wall of our courtyard. And then we have so many vegetables that we have racks on the aisle behind the courtyard. So it's a really good value, especially buy one, get one free. That's down the other aisle, showing the Dr. Earth, the best fertilizer to use, Dr. Earth tomato, vegetable, and herb. What's great about it, it's from the fish waste industry. So it's fish bone meal, fish meal, then there's kelp meal and kelp flour in it, potassium sulfate, and then also a phosphorus. And this is the best. It lasts 60 days, and 1 cup covers 10 square feet. So this is what I use in my garden. my vegetable garden. And then looking over the roses and into the hydrangea beds. And the hydrangeas are starting to shine and starting to show up. Oh, look at these are all of the, a lot of the carpet roses and the knockout roses that are just beautiful, beautiful flowers for our area. And then all the hydrangeas. And this first section are the macrophylla types, which are called the big leaf hydrangeas, like the endless summer and all of their cousins, bloomstruck. And then in the row behind it are all of the paniculata types. And here the paniculata is going into color. It's so fun to see them in color with early stuff. And this is an oak leaf hydrangea. Beautiful, beautiful. And then Annabelles. Annabelles were the hydrangeas that we've had for years and we've loved for years and this is just as in the baby stage when they're that nice pale green, and then they open up to that beautiful white, the white color. And then more wonderful annuals, the geraniums, flowering shrubs showing off, spireas. These are all of the shrubs for shade, the dogwoods and the different colored dogwoods. And then shade here, you can see the mock orange blooming. And then off to the other, and just to the right of that are all the viburnums. And then coming down the shade aisle, the annual shade aisle, you can see all the incredible coleus, beautiful hanging baskets, all the tropical shade-loving houseplants that can go outside in the summer and go back inside as houseplants, the different ferns, the different alocasia or elephant ears, and the palms. And come on, PowerPoint. Oh, and then the begonias. I love the Rieger begonias. Great for the shade. They bloom nonstop through the shade. Caladiums love warm temperatures. So that really hot spell that we had, oh my gosh, that was just what caladiums needed. And look how great they look. They were miserable this early spring when it was so cool. And then the fuchsias. And then again, the close-ups of the elephant ears, and then the New Zealand red flax. And then these are the disease-resistant impatiens. And so this is called the Beacon series from Ball Horticulture. And they come in all colors, beautiful. Look at all the different colors and exceptionally shade tolerant. Here's a close-up. This actually came from the Ball Horticulture people. This is one of their promo photos. And then they're resistant to this disease. And I had someone come in with a sample that looked like this. And he purchased them from another place, which were named nameless. And he got them, and they were inoculated. They were already diseased, and the leaves started dropping off. So all you have are these stems. And then usually you'll see the downy mildew on the underneath sides of the leaves sporulating, and you can see that it looks downy, it looks white and fuzzy, and that's why it's called downy mildew. And what happens is it gets into the vascular system, it gets into a leaf, into the vascular system, and then clogs the vascular system, so all the leaves drop off. And then it gets down in the soil, and it stays in the soil for up to 15 years. So that's why we conscientiously didn't sell standard impatiens for 10 years. And now that we have the beacons back, it's great. It's really great. And people are so shocked when they hear that we have disease resistant. These were the impatiens we were living with while they were hybridizing the disease resistant. These are the New Guinea impatiens, and New Guinea impatiens were hybridized and selected to flower and grow in the sun in New Guinea. But here you have to keep them really well watered if you want to keep them in full sun, but they can tolerate, sunny conditions. Okay. And then here's inside, got a neat new shipment of succulents, and then some wonderful foliage plants, some beautiful, these are huge Chinese evergreens, Aglaonema. And then of course our orchids are just always spectacular. And then again, our visual people did a display inside showing how to set up, your tropical foliage plants out on a patio. And so now moving forward, what you should be doing in your garden is weeding. is actually weeding. Now, this is a link, and I was going to go ahead and play it, but it was a little too long. But this is a link of my good friend Roy Diblick, who kind of reintroduced the Dutch hoe, and this is from DeWitt Company. You can see the diamond shaped head that has sharp edges on all four sides, and this is one of the push pull handles, and you can see the handle on the end of it. This is an ash handle made from ash wood, and it's 7 feet long. So when you use it, you stand up straight. No more bending over to hoe. You stand up straight and push and pull, with your arm. And as you push, the sharp blades on one side cut those weeds off at the soil line, just under the soil line. And when you pull back, it cuts too. So you make all kinds of time when you're weeding, your flower beds. You can also use, this type of a weeder, but look, you're on your knees on your pad. I love standing upright, not bending over, and not having bent wrists, having a straight arm, and use all my muscles to use this wonderful hoe. I own one of these. I love it, love it, love it. And I can weed my front bed, which is huge. It's 30 feet across, and it's like a circle, and it's around a great big tree. And I can get it completely weeded in 20 minutes using this push pull hoe. I love it. Another great tool is called a hocho knife, and you can see it has measurements on it. So if you need to dig a certain depth, and then it has a serrated edge. It also has an edge for cutting twine, and just one of the best tools. You dig with it, you cut with it. It's excellent, and you can weed with it. Okay, now the samples that I've seen this week have been almost frightening. And because of all the heat, we reached a certain level of the growing degree days, and all the insects have started to hatch. And because we had such a mild winter, we're seeing lots of them. And that's one disadvantage of having mild winters. This was pretty scary. This is a potato beetle, and they're immature right now. And the immature one this is one that it came in, and this was on eggplant in the person's garden. And so that's the immature, and it matures to that striped beetle over on the right. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Look for anything in the potato or tomato family with holes in the leaves, starting from the edges. These insects start from the edges and eat their way in. The other one that I'm seeing tons of, is the 4-line plant bug. And you can see the mature with the 4 lines, and then you can see the immature that it doesn't look like the same insect because it's red, but it matures into the one up on the left. And they have a very distinctive damage, and they have a stylus for a mouth part, which is like a needle. They insert it and suck a section dry, and then move to another section. And then pretty soon the whole surface of the leaf looks polka dotted like this. And it's so distinctive. It's only plant bugs do this. So keep your eye peeled for that. I'm going to show you what to use to take care of it. This was another sample, and you can really see all the polka dotted effect on the leaf. And then that was the adult, inside. I kept it in the bag. I didn't want him out to take a photo of him. Now, tons and tons of rose slug, which is the larva of a rose sawfly. And what we're seeing now are the bristly rose slugs. And unfortunately, they have 5 to 7 life cycles right now. So that just keep coming back. So you want to make sure you spray your roses with, I like to use the systemics, and I'll show you the best ones to use. Now, this is kind of a new alert. Bagworm eggs are hatching, and bagworms do this classic bag. Look at the spruce down on the lower left hand. And the caterpillar, the female caterpillar, cuts the foliage off the plant that it's living on, and then makes these bags around her. And there's an opening at the end. She comes out every night, keeps feeding on the foliage, and then lays eggs. And the eggs are inside the bag, and then pretty soon they're going to hatch. And then you can see this little silk webbing that's securing the bag to in between the branches. Look real closely on the bottom one. And what happens then, she spins these silk webs, and those caterpillars they fly off, hanging onto the web, and they float out into the air until they get to another plant, and they latch on and start over and start feeding. And you can see a lot of times, this is my good buddy Joe Boggs at Ohio State University, and you can see that they also go to herbaceous plants, not herbaceous, deciduous plants, not only evergreens. And so if you're not looking at all of your plants, you might miss where they're, where these insects are living and proliferating. And this is on a hornbeam. You can see how the bag looks completely different, but it's still the conical shape, pointed. This is the damage on the oak. And you can see how the caterpillar was feeding on the leaves, taking segments and making holes in the leaves and bringing that back to plaster and to weave into her bag. And then they even occur on roses. I rarely see them on roses, and then they also can strip the bark off of crab apples. So keep your eyes open for these. And there's great control. These are varying aged bagworms, and you'll see them all on the same plant, and large ones, mediums, and small, because the life cycle just keeps going, and the eggs keep getting laid. Now, this is the river birch aphid, and classic on river birches, and it causes this fuzzy, indented leaf structure, and they usually feed on the underneath sides of the leaves, and they're sucking the juices of the plant, which causes them to kind of accordion up, and so and then I also have another picture. Oh no, I thought I had two pictures. Excuse me. Oh, Jennifer. Okay, and the systemic insecticides are still always my favorite. You can use them as drenches down at the base of the plant, or you can use them as hose and sprayers. Sprayed on the leaf, it's absorbed in the leaf and stays in for 30 days. Spraying at dusk keeps you from killing all the pollinators, and it's very effective, to take care of that. I'm moving on now. I'm going to talk about the insecticides in a few minutes. Lots and lots of yellowing on the inner needles of most of the evergreens. Japanese yews really seriously hit, by the lack of water. Eriophyid mites and powdery mildew on Ninebark. And when we have the high humidity, like we did the last 2 weeks, with no rain, then the spore doesn't get washed off the leaves of the powdery mildew. And with the high humidity, it germinates and starts growing, and then all those mycelium grow up and cover, and that's when you get that white surface where the mycelium is just grown like crazy and covered the whole surface of the leaf. We're seeing, because of the heat, spider mites now. Spider mites are hot temperature insects. They love it when it's hot and dry, no rain, and then hot. And so you get that stippling effect. The insects are on the underneath side. You really don't see them until you put them under a microscope. And they make these little yellow flecks, and it's called stippling damage. And just another shot kind of showing the upper surface. But you have to use a mite control to take care of these. And it's this one right here. Oh, excuse me. We're seeing Volutella stem blight because it's active when it's very humid and very, very warm. So if you're seeing tips of your boxwood turning yellow, check closely to make sure it's either the boxwood leaf miner insect, or it could be the Volutella stem canker that's active. And if it's active, you'll see splitting on the bark down lower on the branches, closer to where the main trunk is. And then you'll see the sporulation color is a bright kind of orangey pink color. You can really see it. You can really see it. I'm sorry, I don't have the photo of it. And then we also, it goes back and forth between Pachysandra and Boxwood. The Volutella can attack both plants, and it causes this brown damage, and it kills the stems on the Pachysandra. You can also see a leaf spot manifestation of it. So the plant that's up on the right-hand photo, the right-hand corner, that's the leaf spot, of the Volutella. Okay, and the best way to control this is spray it with fungicide like Immunox, and then prune out all the dead and dying areas, and then give it fertilizer and keep it well watered, and then spray every 2 weeks with Immunox. Then Pachysandra, we're seeing tons of sunburn on areas that used to have trees, and if trees came down, like losing, a lot of people have lost the ashes, the green ashes, and the Pachysandra was underneath. And with the hot temperatures in the sun, it really yellows out like this. So it's better not to have these in full sun. I'm seeing tons and tons of 2,4-D damage, not just hosta, but all the ground cover plants that are close to the lawns. And it was from putting lawn weed killer down, or weed and feed, and then having the really hot, humid temperatures where these amines, 2,4-D is an amine, and they volatilize, and those fumes float in to actively growing plants, and it causes them to twist and gnarl and deform. It won't kill the plant, but it sure makes them look bad. And we're seeing aphids on everything. Aphids on honeysuckle, aphids on roses, aphids on many of the ground cover plants. Then the rough bluegrass or annual bluegrass was actually a weed, in our lawns, and it's a pale green. But what's happening now in this annual bluegrass, Poa annua and Poa trivalis, rough stem bluegrass, what's happening is they have a very rudimentary root system, and with this high temperature and the lack of rain, these high temperature, what's happening is both the annual bluegrass and the rough stem bluegrass are going dormant. And I just had a customer come in yesterday thinking that it was the patch diseases, the fungal patch disease, because they're circles, they're 6-inch circles. This is how big each of the plants are in the lawn. They're a 6-inch diameter plant. And when they go dormant, and you can see the bottom photo, you see they're just 6-inch circles. And this person was convinced it was fungal disease. So I put it under the microscope. You couldn't see any sign of fungus at all. And so the middle shot is my yard, and you can see how that rough blue stem, bluegrass is actually dying out. And it's in a really hot, sunny location, and it's just dying out. And people say, well, how do I get that? It can get mixed in with grass seed. And if you have a grass seed company that doesn't test for weeds and percentages of weeds, sometimes it gets added, with, the grass seed. But it can also just be in the soil. And if you have exposed areas of soil, then they're in the sun, that encourages them to germinate. And that's how mine got started, because I killed a bunch of weeds, and then I didn't get my grass seed down and keep it watered as well as I should have, and then the rough stem bluegrass got started. So because of the heat, I want to emphasize mulch. Anytime you can mulch your existing plants, your perennial beds, after you weed them, put the mulch down. And you either have leaf mulch, you have cotton burr compost, shredded pine wood or pine bark mulch, and then shredded hardwood mulch. And 1 to 2 inches is perfect. It'll help keep the soil temperature more uniform and the soil moisture more uniform. Disease control, I was talking about that earlier. You want to use Immunox systemic fungicide. The active ingredient is myclobutanil. Use that every 2 weeks. And then we also have the Bayer's all-in-one, and that's tebuconazole. And that's used as a drench. You pour that into the soil, and it's absorbed by the plant and stays in for 14 days as a soil drench. And then we have Bonides Infuse. That's used for the lawn diseases. And then we also have the Earth Tone 3-in-1 disease control, which also has tebuconazole, and it's a spray-on. This is my favorite fungicide is Immunox, and it's been around for, I think it's been 30 years. It was first introduced when I was on staff at the Botanic Garden before I came to Chalet full time. And it's been, the best. ever since it was introduced. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to get the spray bottle. We have only the concentrate. So we're having people mix it in their own spray bottles and or put it in tank sprayers, put it like in a tank sprayer. And then these are all the insects. Whitefly down at the bottom. Hibiscus and whitefly just kind of go together. Aphids everywhere. We're seeing aphids on everything. Mealybugs on a lot of plants, and then the two-spotted spider mites. But lots and lots of insects. This is what the nymphs look like. That's the young of the whitefly. And you look on the underneath sides of the leaves, and you can see they look like naked scales. They look like scales without coverings. And this sample was really good. You can see the nymphs, and then all the yellow, the pale yellow circles are eggs. So, and then we've got the aphids. This was an aphid. Oh, I thought I had another shot of an aphid. Hold on. But aphids have those two cornicles at the tail end. They look like two extra tails. But that's a positive ID that it's aphids, that it's aphids. Okay. And then we're seeing lots of caterpillars. Warning, warning, warning. The Japanese beetles are going to be emerging in the next probably 2 weeks to 3 weeks. I'm curious, with as dry as the soil is, how they're going to emerge. We also will have lots of them if they survive the drought. And because we didn't get that cold, in last winter. So in the sphinx moth, two-spotted spider mites again, and then the insect control, you want to use the Bayer's tree and shrub systemic on larger shrubs and the trees. The Bayer's rose and flower systemic, that actually is a spray on. You spray it on, and it's imidacloprid. It stays in the leaves that are sprayed for 30 days. And then we have the Bayer's 3-in-1 insect disease and mite control. Also stays in, the insecticide stays in for 30 days. The Bayer all-in-one is the soil drench. You mix it based on 1 ounce per foot of like shrub height, or 2 ounces per rose in a quart of water. Okay. And then these are what the products look like. This is the 12-month soil drench. You mix it at 3 ounces per foot of shrub height, and then 1 ounce per inch of trunk diameter. And this stays in the plant for actually 12 months, which is excellent. And then these are the Bayer and the Bio Advanced sprays and drenches that we were talking about. Now, moving on. Public enemy number 1, I am horrified to tell you that I took this picture of this baby in my front yard. So I always hate to see when the babies come out, because they eat through all of the repellents except for the one from the liquid fence. And it has extra capsaicin and extra cinnamon in it that actually burns their mouths. They just stop feeding on that plant and go someplace else, but they'll eat through all the other ones. And so I just hate seeing when the baby rabbits, because they don't have a sense of taste or smell until they become adolescents. So it always pains my heart when I see the babies coming out, because this is what they end up growing up doing in public enemy number 1. So you want to use the plant skeed, or this is the rabbit repellent from liquid fence, especially when you see the babies. We've been sold out of it. We're trying to get more, but and we're having a tough time getting it. Okay, and then these are all the repellents you want to. Now, these are the lawn. How to fix the lawn. You want to do. This shows my lawn early in the spring and how bad it looked after I killed all the weeds. And then this is the lawn as it's looking better and repaired. Keep using the preventative fungicide to prevent the patch diseases. So if you hadn't started, you want to do that at least once every 2 weeks for 3 times. And that will keep those patch diseases from showing up in August and September. I just use this on my lawn because it fertilizes for 3 months. And I did it in time, for the June 15. We're actually at June 17 right now. And this has a weed killer that lasts for 6 months. It also has a pre-emergent that lasts for 6 months as well. And it keeps greening the lawn. This is our favorite lawn fertilizer. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get it in. The Espoma company ran out of stock, and they haven't been able to get us to refill it. So we keep praying every day. I apologize that we don't have it for you. And you need to get your grub X down to prevent, because the grubs are at the surface and they probably pupated. So you want to get that in the lawn so that when the adults mate and lay eggs, it'll keep them from, taking over the lawn. And then these are all the, you want to, use, again, immunoxin infused, and then the drenches that have the fungicide, insecticide, and fertilizers in them. And then these are the natural fungicides. Again, copper soap is the liquid one. I like that for edibles. And then the copper dust, copper fungicide. And I encourage people to go with the liquid copper instead. Okay. And then apple scab is what we're preventing. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing black spot. And then you want to, it's too hot to use these weed killers right now, but once it cools off, you'll be able to use them again. And then this is one that you can use now. It's an iron hedida. So it actually kills the tops of the plants, not so much the roots, but it's one of the earth-friendly naturals that will kill the plants, and then grass weeds and flower beds, use this to spray over the top to kill them. I'm testing this on several of the ornamental grasses that spread to other areas of my garden. I'm seeing how well it works, and I'll show you that in next week. And then these are the active plant health care. Do your fertilizers and keep up on a regular basis. The Bio Advanced 3-in-1 has the disease and the mite control. And now that we're seeing mites, this is the best one. It's a spray on, and it stays on in the leaves for 30 days. Okay, and then this is what I've done in my garden. Here's my vegetable bed. I'm again watering every other day because of the drought. And then my tools for success are the Dr. Earth vegetable planting mix, the Rat Magic, the Bio Advanced rose and flower all in one. I use preen after I get all the vegetables moved away. And then I'm having good luck with Rat Magic all around my vegetable bed, keeping the squirrels and the chipmunks out. I'm going to mulch with cotton burr compost, and I have to plant a few more seeds to get them going. My cucumbers have germinated, and my strawberry plants are getting ripe berries in my hanging baskets. Here are my cucumbers that came up, and then I'm kind of finishing quickly, because I know everyone wants to get out in their garden. And here's to summer. And then let me check these, the questions and answers. Oh, we're gonna go back here. Let's stop sharing the screen. Hi, everybody. And here's the Q&A. Okay, Shane. Hi, Jennifer. Is there a hydrangea that would be happy in a dead shade corner? I was about to need something tall to hide unsightly things. Thank you. The best for the deep, deep shade are the Annabelles, and they don't get that tall. They only go, and if you need something tall, you might want to consider one of the dogwoods. It has flowers in the spring, but you can get a 6 to 8 foot shrub that would hide something that's unsightly. Great answer, great question. Okay, and Chris Director, hi Jen. There are little orange bumps on a pussy willow. What could that be? Oh, that's rust. That's rust. So use one of the, get the Immunox and spray that, and that'll stop it. And that's rust. That's rust. And because of the heat and the high humidity, that's rust weather. And so the spore was out there and it was activated. Okay, and this is Jamie. I planted creeping phlox in the mid-spring and have been watering during the drought to help them establish. If they are browning out right now, is it possibly due to too much sun, or is this normal for this time of year? Trying to decide if I should move them to somewhere with a little more shade before I lose them. No, I think it's just because they may have gotten a little too dry in between waterings. So keep watering every other day, and I think that'll help them perk back up. Don't move them right now. A great question. Okay, and here's Jamie. Is liquid fence safe to use on edibles? Well, it's safe, but it's going to give you that flavor. So I usually don't use, that, on edibles. I'll use it around the edibles and, to keep the animals from coming up to them when they get there. Great question. Okay, and then Cindy Lubecki, I use BioAdvanced Rose and Flower Care on bee balm to prevent mildew. The plants are fine so far, but is it time for a second application? Yes, you want to do, for mildew, you want to do it every 2 weeks. It lasts 14 days. The fungicide lasts 14 days. The insecticide lasts 30 days. And can I stick to Immunox spray instead? You may, absolutely. The Immunox is just fine. Either one. Good question. Okay, and then Mrs. Jamie again. Thank you for all your help. Happy to report that with your help, my endless bummer hydrangea is about to bloom. Ooh, yay, for the first time in 2 years. It's because we had that mild winter. That is fantastic. Oh, this is great. I love great news. Thank you so much. I love hearing that. Wow, fantastic. Okay, and then here we go. Oh. We answered live and done. Okay, and this is Gail, and I'm not sure I pronounce it, if it's Deek or Dyke. What should we do for powdery mildew on peony? I'm tempted to just remove it. Oh, no. Don't remove the peony. Spray Immunox on it. Immunox or the BioAdvanced 3-in-1. You want to leave the leaves up so that the peony can photosynthesize and recharge the tubers. Yeah, don't cut them down yet. Don't do that until the very end of summer. Okay, your questions are great. How long and how often do I need to water new sod? Okay, I've been watering twice a day for 20 minutes for a week already. There are some straw-colored patches. Okay, water closely, walk on them to make sure that the roots are in contact with the soil underneath. And then you want to, water again twice a day when it's so hot like this, for at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It takes 2 weeks to 3 weeks for those roots to grow into the soil beneath. We call that knitting in. So keep it moist. Keep it as moist as a damp sponge. Okay. Hey, you all were great. And there's a couple more coming in. Cindy, even though my peonies bloom nicely every year, there are lots of buds that don't open. Is there anything I can do to encourage all the buds to bloom next year? Give them fertilizer. I like the Bud and Bloom from Dr. Earth. And then also spray with Immunox as the plants are coming up out of the ground, and it will prevent that's called blossom end rot. And that's a fungus that gets into the buds as they're developing, but spray with the Immunox and then all of the buds will open. Okay, and start early. Start when they just are coming up out of the ground early in spring, and that will really help them. And then here's Gail again. Would you please repeat the rule of thumb about rain? 70 degrees. Okay, at 70 degrees or lower, it's 1 inch of rain required a week. For every 10 degrees above 75, or 70 degrees, it's another ½ inch. So if it's 85, it's 75 and lower, 1 inch. And for every 10 degrees above 75, an additional ½ inch. So that's 85. And so then you want 1.5 inches of rain. Okay, that's good. Thanks for asking that. I love that people, want to understand that. It makes it easy. Okay. Oh, and it's pronounced Deek. Okay. Thank you for correcting that. All right. And then, will Immunox also work on phlox? Absolutely. The Immunox is fantastic on phlox. Absolutely fantastic. Once every 2 weeks, and you'll love it. That's fantastic. So everybody, I'm letting you go early today, and I answered all the questions. And thank you for being such loyal, attendees. And you can always find me with your questions in the Plant Information Center or at the diagnostic desk. So I really appreciate your loyalty. Oh, I got one more question. Let me open that one up. One more question. Here it is. And it's from Gail Deek. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, everybody. And hopefully we'll see you at Chalet. Come in for Father's Day for the fun celebration and the wonderful food truck. It's really going to be great. And thank you so much. All right. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.